Hello everybody, this is Dennis Clark from Naples, Florida, and I'm going to do an analysis of the two golf swings that won this week on their respective tours. On the left here, obviously, I have the great Colin Montgomerie, World Golf Hall of Fame member, and on the right, Brian Harman, who just broke through on the PGA Tour with his first win. And I'm doing the video comparison simply because we get to look at two players obviously very much on top of their games. Colin had 2 majors this year on the Champions Tour, and Brian obviously playing very well. So we want to look at it for that reason. But also I wanted to follow up on something that those of you who are fans of my blog and are students of mine hear me talk a lot about individual differences in golf swings and how there are so many ways that the golf club could have swung and still achieve the desired result. Well, here we see two players with some similarities, but with quite a bit of difference in one of the areas. And I'm going to take this first swing of Brian's here, and I'm going to bring him around to the impact area, or thereabouts. And we'll just set that there. And then I'm going to bring Colin around to his and bring it around here so you can take a look at this. Okay, we'll set that impact. Now, the obvious thing that we see is we see a lot more of Brian Harman's back here and backside as he turns through the golf ball, more open to the target. Colin Montgomerie, we see the hips are still fairly closed at the address position, or very square. The shoulders are very square. You can see over here, Brian's much more open with the upper body there. Colin's shoulders are very square to the target. Brian's open, and much more of the back's turning through. So how does one player turn through and is very active with their rotation of their body? In Colin's case, much less rotation, more of a sliding motion or a lateral slide with the body, so that the hips don't open but they stay fairly square. Well, the reason for that is, and you can learn a lot from these great players when we watch why this happens. I'm going to take this swing back. There's some obvious differences that we could do a full analysis here, but this is just to point out some essential differences. They're right about in their backswing where they're both about, let me bring this back, I'm sorry. Right about where the lead arm, in Brian's case the right arm, in Colin's the left arm, about that point in there, about where they're taking the club back. So we'll draw a little circle around that area. And now we're going to take Brian back, and we're going to come down, and you can see where he's coming down well under that. And the angle of his club is very much on his rear arm here, the shaft of the club, the shaft of the club laying on the forearm. I'm going to bring Colin down to the same point. You're going to see that he doesn't go under it as he comes almost slightly above it. And the angle of the club is much higher up through his right shoulder at this point coming down. See the difference so you can see the difference in the angle of the shafts. Well, now the news is when you come down with take the hand path and the golf club deviates from it, in Brian's case, much below the path of his hands. And Colin Montgomerie's is very near the path of his hands. When the club's coming down that steeply, as Colin brings it down, you cannot feel free to turn the body through completely, or else he's going to hit big blocks to the right. When the club comes in on a much lower plane, like it is for Brian right here, he has much more of a full body turn, much more of a full body release through it, due to coming in so much lower on the swing plane zone. Colin comes in higher, and his is going to be more of a hands and a body sliding release, whereas Brian's feel free to use the body release. So we get the two different types of golf swings, both achieving obviously the desired result. But here's the lesson for everybody. If you're one who lays the shaft down and gets it pretty flat coming into the impact like this, and this is not that common in the average golfer. Obviously, most golfers that I've taught over many years bring the shaft in too steeply, and that's why the turning through of the body, which Brian's doing right here, acts as a quieting effect on the hands. The hands become a little less quiet, and when the hips slide, like Colin's doing, the hands become more active, and that type of a release is going to be with the hands instead of the body. So if you're coming in high like that with a fairly steep shaft, you need some more release with the hands and less rotation of the body. If you're laying it down like Brian is and you're coming in lower on the swing plane, feel free to release it with the body. I hope that helps you, and get a good look at these two great players at the top of their game, and we can all learn from this level of ball striking, certainly. And we'll see you next time.